going on, guys? Sam Adams here, and today we're going to be talking about Bethesda's E3 2016 press conference, which I did watch live with everyone on twitch.tv last night, and we all had a pretty good time. My chat was very excited about what Bethesda had to offer, and there were some people that said the show was a little bit lackluster, but that being said, I was pretty impressed with what was shown, and there was a good bit of stuff shown off. I was really impressed with the balance between talking about new games while also kind of talking about how they're going to continue to support the games that are already out on the market, including the announcement of some new Fallout 4 DLC, along with a ton of other news that just kept on flowing last night from Bethesda. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start breaking this stuff down. So the first game that was discussed was Quake Champions. It actually kicked off the show, and it's id Software's new title, and it's pretty much a sequel for the Quake franchise. And if you aren't familiar with Quake games, it's one of those iconic PC gaming franchises that pretty much is one of the origin games for the first-person shooter genre. Whenever you think FPS games, you are going to think about Quake, because in every modern shooter there's a little bit of Quake inspiration in that, and so it's nice to see that the game is going to be coming back. However, it does appear to be a PC exclusive, which is something that is pretty much unheard of in modern gaming, because why wouldn't they choose to try and make as much money as possible by making the game for the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One? Now, that hasn't been confirmed, and by the time of uploading this video that might have changed, but if this is a PC exclusive, and by the mention of 120 Hz and unlocked frame rate, it does appear to be a PC exclusive, then that's going to be a pretty good love letter to those PC fans and to the Quake franchise, because it is an origin game for PC. You know, it's one of those ones that everyone always played on PC back in the day, so it only makes sense that it would come out as a PC exclusive in modern times. So they did say that more information will be coming on Quake Champions this August at QuakeCon, so be sure to keep your eye on that event if you are interested in Bethesda's new games that they have coming out over the course of the next year. I know that I will definitely be covering some stuff from there, and I will keep my eye on that one very closely. So I'm going to kind of combine the next three topics into one big section. They talked about the Elder Scrolls Legends, which is of course their Hearthstone-inspired card game that takes pretty much the gameplay of Hearthstone, and I have watched a good bit of it, and unless it changes whenever the full release does come out, it's pretty much a copy and paste of the Hearthstone playstyle with the changing of a couple of terms and, you know, obviously inspiration of characters and different kinds of abilities and whatnot from the world of Elder Scrolls. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, the closed beta has actually been kind of expanded. It's not quite an open beta, but it is quite a lot easier to get into it, so you can sign up for that on Bethesda.net. Now after that, they started talking about Fallout 4 and Fallout Shelter, and of course a big announcement that we'll talk about in a minute. But with Fallout 4, contraptions are coming, the Vault-Tec Workshop is coming where you can pretty much build your own vault, and then there is an announcement of some kind of Nuka World. I'm not really sure what that is. No one really knows what Nuka World is at this point, at least not to my knowledge since last night, but it does appear that Fallout 4 is getting some extensive DLC that will be coming out over the course of the next couple of months, so it's nice to see that with Far Harbor being the biggest expansion for Fallout 4, they're not just kind of abandoning the game and calling it quits after that. Now after that, they talked about Fallout Shelter, which is getting a new combat system, new characters, and a PC port in July, so if you are interested in Fallout Shelter, you'll definitely want to keep an eye on that one whenever it comes out later this summer. Now the next one is a big announcement that a lot of people were anticipating and have been anticipating for a long time, and to me is a little bit controversial, but I understand why they would do it, and that is the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Special Edition, which is coming out on October the 28th, 2016 on the Xbox One and PlayStation 4, and that is literally a remastering of Skyrim that came out on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 with better dynamic lighting, better graphics overall, and all of the DLC is included in this special edition, obviously, so it's pretty much the best experience you are going to be getting from the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim to date. Now, I was kind of on the fence about this one, because with Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 games, it's always kind of a borderline of whether they're actually worth remastering at this point, because they're still relatively new. There's nothing that's been really revolutionary, so to speak. I mean, obviously they're getting some age on them, but the games still hold up well. That being said, the gameplay they showed off, it seems like it's going to run well and look beautiful on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and of course mod support is coming as well, so it's bringing that kind of PC aspect in the same way that they're bringing mods to Fallout 4 into the world of Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. And of course, with PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, there's an entirely new generation of gamers, whether we like to admit it or not, playing on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One that never got to play that old generation kind of experience for Skyrim, so it is kind of worth bringing into the modern day. And on top of that, those that already have the Legendary Edition of the game on PC are going to be getting this upgraded version of Skyrim for free. Like, literally, if you own all of the DLC and the base game on Steam, you're going to be getting an upgrade to the Legendary Edition on October the 28th on its release date for free. So, 2 thumbs up. I mean, why not? If you are still, showing some devotion to those that originally supported the game while also making the game available to more people and making it look more beautiful on modern consoles, sure, I don't mind. So next up was Prey, which takes place in March of 2032 when you are the key subject in an experiment meant to alter humanity forever, and the space station that you are in has been overrun by an alien threat, and you have to survive using all of the tools available on the station and your abilities. Now, not much was talked about with Prey, however, there is going to be more information at, say it with me, QuakeCon 2016 coming in August, so definitely keep your eye on that one. But this is the game from the show that really kind of blew me away the most. I mean, obviously with the Fallout 4 support, that's great. With Skyrim Remastered, or Special Edition, whatever you want to call it, sure, that looks great as well. Dishonored 2, awesome. But Prey had a certain feel to it and a certain atmosphere that really just grabbed me, and I can't wait to hear more about this game in the coming months. So next up, the guys talked about Doom, which of course was released last month, and it did get some incredible reviews, and it is a pretty impressive game, especially considering it's kind of a remake of a classic first-person shooter. That's a very delicate balance that you have to find there whenever you're combining innovation with throwing back to the original. And so I feel like they did that pretty well, and it is getting more support over the next several months. So there is going to be more snap map support and features added over the course of the next year. Pretty much 5 modes overall, with 2 new modes that were detailed slightly. I can't remember what they were called, but they are kind of like capture the flag, domination kind of things. And then there are 3 free-for-all modes, including a classic deathmatch, and free for all players and playable on all future maps. So all of these modes are going to be coming to the game, regardless of whether or not you want to pay for DLC or you have that season pass. So it's nice to see that they're kind of honoring the fact that you did go out and purchase the game and that you're still playing the multiplayer side of things. And of course, new demons are going to be coming, skins and whatnot. And so it's nice to see that they're not just, releasing and cutting Doom off to be, thrown to the dogs or whatever. They're still developing new content for it. They're still working and tweaking with the multiplayer, even though it's not, Call of Duty or Battlefield multiplayer by any means. It does have a dedicated fan base, and I can definitely see it sticking around, and apparently so can Bethesda. So next up, they talked about the Elder Scrolls Online, which is pretty much an Elder Scrolls MMO that was released about this time last year, and apparently there are over 7 million players exploring Tamriel, which is of course the world that it is in, the Elder Scrolls Online, and there is new Dark Brotherhood DLC coming to ESO later on this week, coming out on Tuesday, and it takes players to the part of the world that originally debuted in Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. Now there's also the announcement of One Tamriel, which is pretty much where all characters will be automatically leveled in the game so that there are no content barriers and there are no alliances that can't be formed. Pretty much if you have the game, you can play with someone that is also online, and that's very cool because whenever you have a game like Elder Scrolls Online that hasn't seen widespread success, it hasn't seen the best kind of release and the best kind of hold up over time, for lack of a better term, it's great to be able to just jump into the game, play with your friends that might also have the game, and do whatever you want and explore the world that there is there to explore. Then they talked about Bethesda VR, Bethesda Virtual Reality, and one of the games that is supported is coming in 2017, and it is actually Fallout 4, which blew me away. The other one is Doom, which is equally as impressive, but there was no really release timeline for that. I'm assuming probably around the same time as Fallout 4, maybe a little bit before. But that being said, wow, like you can bring the world of Fallout 4 to the HTC Vive. That is incredible stuff, and I can't wait to see how that actually works out in the long run. But it's nice to see, and I suppose it was kind of a telltale sign, that VR is here to stay. If Bethesda is putting the effort behind bringing Fallout 4 and Doom to the HTC Vive, that's just to me stating that we believe in this technology, we believe this is where the future of the industry lies, and we are going to be supporting that and putting our efforts behind that. So that was definitely a shocking experience and a shocking announcement for me, but one that definitely spoke volumes. So finally, they showed off some Dishonored 2 gameplay, which is something a lot of people have been looking forward to for a very long time, because although we've seen cinematics and announcements and whatnot, we never really saw any gameplay. And after they showed off some gameplay, as well as some pre-rendered kind of exploration of the world and delving into how they wanted to make it look like a painting in motion and wanted to make it very lifelike, we did see some actual gameplay, and it does seem like they captured that original feeling and that original vibe that you would get from playing the first Dishonored. And so it's nice to see that they're kind of sticking sticking to their guns on that one while also adding some new elements of gameplay, some new abilities and whatnot. Overall, I was pretty impressed with Dishonored 2. So as far as the actual gameplay goes, it pretty much showed off what you can expect whenever you are playing the game, how you have many different options of how you want to traverse the environment. You can go up, you can go around buildings, you can pretty much just avoid enemies at all costs. It's very much so up to the player of how they want to play the game, and that's something that I do like to see, especially in this kind of game that Dishonored actually is. Now, there are also time traveling mechanics that they showed off where you can pretty much have some glass shards that appear, something along those lines. You have something in your hand that allows you to look into the past and find enemies. And then whenever you want to, you can go back into the past, kill those enemies, jump back into the future, and then you can have a glimpse back into the past as people discover those dead bodies that you have left behind. Very interesting kind of mechanic, and it's certainly going to have a lot of creativity in the title as well. Dishonored 2 is looking to be one of the most graphically impressive, while also gameplay impressive games that the Bethesda does show over the course of the next year, and I'm excited to play it on the 11th of November. Now, the cool thing is that if you pre-order this game, you actually get Dishonored Definitive Edition for free on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, or PC, depending on where you pre-order. So if you never experienced Dishonored before, you can actually get in on a game that I believe was released at a $40 price point for free, so that's a pretty good deal. So there you guys have it. That's pretty much the breakdown for Bethesda's E3 2016 press conference. If you did enjoy it, please click the like button down below and let me know what your favorite game was from the show this year. Like I said, I really did enjoy the atmosphere that Prey did present, even though there was no gameplay. I'm excited to see where it goes, and Dishonored 2 also blew me away. But as for right now, thank you for watching this video. Check out some of my other content, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.